To another episode of Starseed Activations. So tonight we have a co-host. Her name is Jody Powers joining us. Jody, welcome. Say hello.
Thank you, Danielle. I'm so excited for tonight.
Yes.
We have a lot to
So
talk about.
tonight's topic that we are going to be covering is in my book, My Ascension Guide. And so we're looking at page 157. It is titled The Number 33. So Jody has a bunch of questions. We're going to just dive right in.
Yeah. So first of all, I would like to ask the question from last week that we didn't have time.
Perfect.
And this is about opening and closing portals.
Okay.
Apparently on one live stream, you had shown us how to open a portal, and this person wants to know how to do that again, a little bit more specifically. And is there ever a time that we should close portals? That's the question.
Closing portals can be done for many different reasons. If an individual has okay, so he's bringing forward mediumship. If someone has the ability to see or sense spirits, because we do also have spirits in this realm, and the spirits, sometimes they don't fully cross over. There may be an interdimensional rift in the physical house of such spirits. Some places like this are known as asylums. Now, because we can sense that there's different portals allowing these spirits passages through time and space, which allows us in this day and era to see or sense a spirit, when meanwhile that spirit was potentially caught up in like 1800s, for an example. He's saying that we can go into such location, see and sense where the portal is, and then start generating a vortex energetic, which shall then allow that portal to ever so gently be closed. Now, because we are closing it in love and light, we have to access inside of the heart chakra subsystems, which allows access into the 0 point. That 0 point is a place of neutrality. When the individual comes to a place of neutrality, it looks like this. It is okay for the portal to exist. It is okay for the portal to be closed. It doesn't matter. I am neutral to it. But then you energetically cast. So I send that portal many love and blessings, allowing it to be filled with the source frequency of pure love, joy, and bliss, allowing the portal to close with the power of your intention. That's how that looks. Now, there's other different types of meditations where we're able to consciously see. You have to release resistance into the physical reality. What that looks like is, imagine that releasing resistance looks like putting your life in God's hands, basically. You have to be okay with whatever the physical world is showing me. That's okay too. It doesn't matter if it's life or death or beautiful or ugly. It doesn't matter. It's pulling the consciousness back from the physical reality. Now, many times we do this when we are on the brink of death. It allows you to you release. And when you release, then you understand how to release resistance. For when you're able to just release, something in the energetic grid structure rebalances itself into the 0 point, allowing you to do such high frequency manifestations, such as generating a portal. Now, the portal, you may start to see when you spiral in a circle, you may start to see light particles. What this actually is it's plasma in its nature, and you are starting to generate an ether circle. An ether circle, when you generate the ether circle, you then cast whatever experiential or location code frequency into the ether circle, and that's going to allow for a teleportation circle to become activated. On your planetary systems, your CERN technology is doing this now by generating particles, which is automatically opening up different types of portals into other dimensional realities. Yes.
Yes. Thank you. What do we need to know about CERN?
CERN, well, there's many different potentials with CERN. There's dark potentials and there is light potentials as well. And so it truly depends on what frequency each individual watching is holding inside of their heart. For you are the one who reflects into the outer simulation. And so if you are holding a love-based emotion inside of your heart and you are raising your biological frequency up into the crystalline realms, then CERN shall be composed of loving light workers, which then in turn shall start to only do things that are positive for Mother Earth in a whole. Now, if you are tuned into the fear-based emotions inside of your heart, you may start to see fear-based reflections in the simulation. For CERN is directly connected to your internal circumstances, and it is connected into your manifestation of your reality.
Okay, thank you. And so you said that he was talking about mediumship.
Yes.
What does he want to tell us about mediumship tonight, or did you already cover it?
No. So, well, all the audience members, you guys missed it because we usually do a thank you star people prayer before turning on the live. And all of my thoughts and words of the prayer got totally scrambled and pulled from my mind. So I was like, I looked at my starman and I'm like, I hope the whole live isn't going to go like that. And it's like that moment of panic, right? When you hit the live stream on. And he's like, well, the veil is a little thin right now because of the date. And so today's date is All Hallows Eve. And so the veil is very thin between the spirit realm and our realm, which allows a type of mediumship channeling to come in, which is another reason why the first question tuned into spirits, because today is a day each and every one of us should be dropping into meditations and at least making the attempt to make contact with our ancestors and bringing in information from them. Many times it may feel like we're making it up. Just sit in a chair and just imagine and visualize how would it feel to be making communication with your grandmother or your great-grandmother. What does she smell like? What does she feel like? What are all the senses that biological form? What do you feel when you think about her? And then just imagine and visualize it. She's sitting right in front of you, talking to you, and then just allow that knowledge to fully come into your mind. Many times we think that we're making it up, but it's actually us channeling the ancestors. Tonight's the night to do that. Yeah.
And tonight is the night to do that. Are there any suggestions or things not to do? I mean, we don't want to focus on the negativity or whatever, but just to be safe.
Yes. Well, just to be safe, try and any information that comes through, it should always be of a positive frequency. So when the ancestor realms start to make contact and communication with us, we have to recognize that there is light information encoded into the ancestors. There's also dark information because all of their memories are readily available for each and every one of us to pull from. We can see their darkness because that's how we do our shadow work. We can see their light and pull their strength from it. However, when we're trying to make a two-way form of communication, try and summon the higher self of the ancestor. The higher self is only going to give the information that is needed in the highest and best intent.
Wonderful. So the only beings or energies of light and love and the highest self of a certain ancestor.
Yes.
Okay.
The higher selves are always light and love. Every single time they will always be of light and love. Because think about it from a scientific perspective. In the physical realm, our atoms and molecules are under a state of density. The higher self is a much higher frequency than here. They're very close to the source frequency. The source frequency is pure love, joy, and bliss. It's the next level up. So when we start making communication to the higher selves, it's basically talking to the heavens. The heavens are pure love, joy, and bliss. Yeah. So they're only going to give you information, which is in your highest and best love, joy, and bliss.
Yes. And all we need to do is set that intention and say those words and we're good. Not focus on being scared or whatever. Just say that. I love that. I knew you'd have the perfect answer.
Yes. Have no fear.
No fear. So we have the veil that's thinning. It's All Hallows Eve. Plus we have the full moon on the 20th. That was on the 28th. Plus it's eclipse. There was a recent eclipse. I'm not sure when, but recently.
And a lunar eclipse with the full moon.
Eclipse.
Yeah.
Can you talk about, everyone seems to be experiencing this differently. Like some people at certain times will say, oh, I'm so tired. I am too. Everyone is going through this in a different way. Like, I'm so panicked and tired, like extremes. But all of the light workers that I know and people that follow this stuff are really like, this is extreme. Can you talk about what's going on exactly?
Sure. So everyone is different. And so what I personally have seen and what I see in the people I interact with was a very high frequency weekend. And then it's like, now it's time for rest. And so last night, all day today, a lot of us were resting to allow for the new frequencies to be integrated. So many times when we absorb new frequencies, a full moon energetic is going to pulse the density out of us. So many people did get triggered. They had cycle repeats come up. Some people had injuries, illnesses come up. That's normal whenever we see a full moon. With the eclipse, it was a little bit more extreme though. Now, when we start to go through this process and we notice, okay, all of the energy came in and I feel okay and it went through, but now all of a sudden it's like the eclipse and the full moon energy, it's there for at least 72 hours. So after 24 hours, your body still needs to absorb it and it needs to reintegrate it into all of the cellular structures. So if you feel any type of ascension symptoms, that would be tired, or if you need to rest, or if you have emotions come up, this was the time to release. So the star people had me cleaning my house before this full moon, and it was like whoosh, and I cleaned all the house and started donating stuff and really preparing for a release. And they're like, this is what you do. Even if you want to give away money, give it away now before a full moon, because it's releasing things that is better to release. And then you're preparing for new energies to come in. Yeah.
Okay. And so you just said the M word. You said the money word.
I did.
And we had talked about that a little bit. Like, you know, a lot of us were triggered about financial stuff. Yeah. And you are such an example about how to deal with money and just keep putting love and light and manifest. But could you speak a little bit more about that?
So I've been through all of the different stages of money. And so now I personally am taking it to such a degree in which I started encouraging all the healers around me. Well, the healers need healing. And we don't have to always charge each other, right? We can come together like a community, like a group. Yeah. We could do things for free. We could do things for free in the communities around us. And we could do all of my live events. So whenever I go live and I talk in front of people, I don't charge people. And I do not ask for donations. If they want to give donations, that's fine, but I will not ask for donations. And so what this is doing is it's setting me on a path where that all of the money I need is going to find me. And that's wonderful. So that means that I could focus on just shining bright and doing what I love to do without having to worry about money. And so when you start to come from that perspective, and it's not always easy, because in the beginning, it was down to the last penny. And I would give the homeless people the last dollars I had with ultimate trust and faith in my heart that I will always have everything I need. Even if I don't have money, I will always have everything I need. And the universe has always provided for me and my children. And so from walking that path since 2019, it's taught me to always I just know it's going to show up. So I don't worry about it. And I don't worry. I don't have to charge. I could just go and be me and have fun, and then show other people, hey, this is how we manifest. We don't always have to be consciously focused on, you have to pay me. Well, wait a minute. I love you, and you are an aspect of me, and we should share and we should care about one another. And even when we make money, it's okay to give some money away, like actual legitimate money. Then we're also starting a clothing drive for the fall and for the winter. And so we're collecting kids' jackets, hats, gloves, right? And we're donating them to one of the local schools here. One of my good friends is a nurse there. And so she knows certain kids who need clothing. So but it's amazing because it's like when we give from the heart and we do things like this and we share and we care with each other, we're building a community. And that's more important than money. To me, anyway.
And it's working for you. So you are walking the walk, you're talking the talk, and you're walking the walk, and you're comfortable.
Absolutely.
You know?
And not only that, but there's a whole tiny home movement that's happening, and a minimalist movement that's happening. And so
Yeah.
I personally, in my life, I've had everything. I've had a boatload of money. I've walked into Target and I'm like, what else is there to buy? I have everything.
That's right.
And then
That's
I've
right.
had nothing. And so having nothing, it was like, well, we're still fed. We have a roof over our head. And what do we really need? And now I'm at the point where even if I have money, what do we really need? Because if you have too much stuff, it clutters up your home and it throws chaos energy on you. And if you don't
Yes,
have
yes,
enough,
yes.
then you're generating a different type of frequency of lack, and you don't have abundance. So, but now it's like, where do you choose to spend your money? What's going to really bring you happiness? Going and shopping and name brand stuff and all that, reality, it doesn't bring you happiness. It leaves you dry at the end of the day. And so it's like, you just need the clothes that you need to protect you. And then you just have to focus on doing your highest passion, because the highest passion is really going to bring in the people, places, and things, and the experiences is what counts. Now, we also see many of the younger people on the planet right now are saying the same thing. They don't want to work. They want to have the experience. They want to make money, but they want the experience of being here and being alive. That to them is worth more money than the name brand, right?
Yes. And then us older generations are saying, oh, they're lazy. They're not hard worker. No, it's not that they're lazy. They're not hardworking, but I feel like they have such a better balance that took me 50 years to figure out. And they've already got it.
They've got it. Yeah. And they're absolutely right,
like,
because it's the experience that counts. Right. And it's not what you're wearing, because the clothes will eventually break down. You have to get rid of them. The car breaks down. You have to get a new one. But how many times can you see a sunset, right? Surrounded by your tribe, chanting with drums and all sorts of musical instruments, or seeing a UFO. How many times can you have that experience of joy and excitement, right? It's priceless. The experiences is why we come here. We don't come here just to rock name brand stuff and to fight with each other over money and who's got more, right? Like that paradigm is leaving us because it's not serving our highest and best.
Yeah, it is. Wonderful. So I guess we should start the number 33. So can I just ask, why is the number 33 important?
So the number 33 is a type of activation in the energetic grid structures, which allows the individual to rise into the next octave range. Now, the star people are saying 333 is a very important number as well, because we have to go through 333 range or levels of your consciousness or bricks of consciousness in order to fully blend and incorporate with the source frequency. When the primary individual blends with his or her source frequency, it allows that soul form to become a celestial being, which then in turn allows the celestial being to evolve. And when the celestial beings, like our source frequency is only one celestial out of many. And so we'll see when we're up to that level and we're fully integrated with the source frequency that we are able to meet and greet other celestial beings who run their own universes. And so it's a very, very interesting topic. Yeah.
So is the celestial realm the highest frequency realm? Closest to source?
There's no such thing as the highest frequency. So it works like a toroidal field. We get very high up in a frequency, and then it starts to diminish and go down, 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 and then it turns into darkness, and then it goes around. So everything is even. The food pyramid, that's an illusion. It's a circle, right? But it's actually a double circle, and we have this earth. And we have the mirror dimension. The mirror dimension is like the negative polarity of this realm. And so it's not in a sense where we think it is, this world is all positive, that one's all negative. It's more like the opposite realm of what this realm is. But all of this, even a celestial, just imagine as a human, imagine your conscious mind having full control over every single cell in your body. That's what a celestial is, because the planets are cells of the celestials. Make sense?
It is starting to come together for me. So can I read a little bit?
Sure, absolutely.
The number, okay, good. So Each octave of chakra energetic points on the physical body, above the body, and below the body include 11 primary chakra vortex energetic centers. So when you can Google chakras, there's 7, there's 12. Can we talk about the 11?
Sure. So we have
maybe
7
just the
primary.
Yeah, the 7 primary and the other ones, I guess. Yeah.
7 primary that we could see inside the body and the crown. There's 2 above and 2 below. They're connected into the star points, the star gates, actually, the star people are saying. And so the star gates allow access into the next octave realm that's above the head or even below. Now, in order to access these different chakras, just imagine each one of the chakra systems, the primary ones, changes your perception of the physical reality. The upper ones are tuning more into bliss and gamma frequencies. The brainwaves has to be in a form of cohesive frequency bandwidth to allow access into those upper ranges. But the dark ones, many times we access them during near-death experiences. So that's okay too. We have a near-death experience and the soul itself goes down below the feet and it starts to touch into the dark octave chakra points, which is wonderful because then it gives us the polarized or polarity. So every single emotion code that we experience, death and life is 2 different polarized emotion codes. This is important because these are the 2 magnets at the top and the bottom of your energetic grid complex, the entire thing. So when the starseed has a near-death experience, it's going to allow them to tune into the crystalline realms because of the law of polarity. When you experience sadness, you have to experience happiness, and then you have to hold neutral to the entire system in order to transcend the entire system. That's how this works. So we have to go through near-death experiences, and then we have to go and tune into the crystalline realms in order to transcend the life or death cycle. Life and death is only a cycle. The cycle of reincarnation, it's a cycle. But the truth of the matter is that it's a cycle in this density realm. The second that we overcome this density, we shoot up into the next octave range. When we're up in the next octave range, then things like the heavens become a reality for us in which we blend with the higher self, which allows us access into 5D frequencies. Your higher self actually sits in the heart chakra system, and then the higher self will pull you up through the stargate when your frequency is properly attuned.
When it's properly attuned, right? And that's what we're working on. We're all working on, getting in touch with the higher self and figuring out how to do that, right?
Yes.
So is that why so many near-death experiencers come back and they have gifts? Because they have already traversed either up or down or both. And they come back and they're able to slip back and forth.
Yes, that's why. And so many times in near-death experiencers, they may have already tuned into the upper octave range. They were just waiting to trigger the lower octave range, chakra vortex centers, which are underneath your feet, which you trigger during a near-death experience. So it's like darkness is what it really is. But it is a sense, the star people are saying, of density in which atoms and molecules become so slow, or time becomes so slow, that it actually allows the distortion of the soul form to eject out of the physical material. And this happens at the moment of death, and we see it as the last breath, and then the soul form pulling up. That's because the lower octave centers got triggered, which is okay too, right? That's all part of how we exist.
So when I love to listen to near-death experiences and those shows. Would I be able to listen and know which one went to which realm? Like, what would the differences be?
Well, there's different frequency or density realms. And so even when we do things like astral project, you could take your consciousness, you can slip it out one of the primary chakras, and each chakra is a different frequency. It's kind of like a base layer to the physical reality as we see it. Now, the upper chakra range has the same exact thing. Each octave up there is a a chakra vortex system, the star people are saying. So each one that you cast through is going to give access to, he's showing me, it's similar to that of the angel frequency chart, because each one of the angels are in a different frequency. Each one of those is like a different chakra vortex in the body, except when you're up in that octave range, it's more of a light body, less of a physical form. Although the process of evolution on this planetary system is going to allow us to take the physical form and evolve it up with the soul form, which allows for a process of crystallization to be emitted all throughout your physical form. This is going to allow for abilities like shapeshifter abilities, as well as spontaneous regeneration of your cellular tissues to manifest for you. This also is going to allow you the ability to change or manipulate matter at physical will, changing the simulation as you see fit. So if you want to spawn a purple tree, that is going to be readily available for you to manifest in 5D frequencies. Yes.
So I did a little experiment today on the giving love and light. So I'm at the shore and there were a bunch of seals. And when I was walking down the beach, they were going away. They were going away. But instead, I walked really slowly and I was like, I'm giving you love and light. It felt so funny. And I was laughing because I was just that lady, right? I'm like, I'm sending you love and light. I'm sending you love and light. And then the seals like popped up, turned around, and they were all just looking at me like,
yeah.
And whether they were looking at me like, who is that lady? Or just like I am, on stage and they're laughing at me. Either way, it worked. They all stayed. They didn't run away. And I was just so happy. There were like 50 of them there. It was so fun.
we had a similar experience with a chipmunk, and it was just one. And I was like, I send you love and blessings, right? And I allowed my heart to open and fill the space outside of me with so much love and light. And the chipmunk didn't move. And I was like, he's not moving at all. He just, and I was like, eventually I had to walk away. I was like, can I take you home?
Yeah, it's so beautiful, so beautiful. And the animals, they're just picking up on our frequency too. And just, I love it. You've taught me so much in this short time that I've
Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming. Yeah.
Okay. So now this says there are 33 levels in total, which are available to express into your physical reality experiences. Yes. The top gate of the crystalline chakra system allows access into level 34. Level 34 is the source frequency gate and merges your individual consciousness back with the all of one. So level 34 is not the same as source. That's the vortex to source.
Yes.
Right? It's like taking
it's a little different. So the people in the heavens in 5D, they would also say that their consciousness is blended with the source. And that is because there's a process of knowledge and instantaneous downloads that takes place at that level. Now, just imagine. So he's showing me 11 different chakras in this physical reality. There's 2 above the head, 2 below the head, 7 in the body. We have 3 degrees to the energetic grids. So 3 degrees is your binary codex frequency. That's your body. The second degree is your location ring, right? So this is all the people, the player characters, all the locations that you experience. The third is a civilization ring. So these 3 rings inside each and every one of this chakra system lead you to 33. All of this must be properly balanced to allow access into the 34th grid or the next octave up. It's all the same thing. We could call it 34 because it's like we clean the 33 down here and then it allows access into that range. That range starts at 34 as we would see it and then goes up another 33, but the star people are saying it's more than just 33 in the next octave. It's way different than how we would perceive it.
So hard to explain.
Yeah, he's showing me it's like we would skew it if we tried to explain it down here in your mentality. Not mentality, but your consciousness level. He's correcting me as that's my star man. He's like, you can't say mentality. Don't do that word. Yeah.
Okay. So then it says below the lower octave is also a gate into the negative polarity ranges. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't understand kind of when you talk about like the near-death experience going to the negative polarity, but it's not necessarily negative. It's just more, it's dense. And maybe there isn't a way to explain it. Like I'll have to experience it somehow or learn it a different way. But
it's the dark realm. And so it's not for the faint of heart. That's where the attachments are birthed. That's where they come from. It's connected into the void, and there's darkness there. And so people don't need to go there unless their soul form is leading them there. But we do tune into a dark range of emotions, and that's only in this world, right? It's basically it's like going to hell is what that is. It's the dark range.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I wondered. Like, am I misunderstanding, or is it just like what we think it is?
No.
That's what it is.
That's what we think it is. But we don't want to focus on going down there, but it's important for us to recognize there's down there, right? And so, but what that is when the light goes around and becomes slower, it turns into darkness, and then that darkness comes back up. So even the dark attachments that we speak about, they are still connected to source frequency. They are still a part of the one and the all. They're still a part of the celestial. That's okay too. Now, when we start to recognize, just like the soul forms can become too traumatized that when the moment of death comes, the star people are saying they can cast downward, and then they become one of those ghosts that haunts, or an angry ghost, right? And that's because they're tuning into the dark octave. That's okay too. When we can start to heal those spirits, we start to bring them back to the light and send them many love and blessings. Then all of a sudden their soul form can start to pull back up in their own independent spectrum of light. And then they can start to go up to the source frequency. So we can assist them in healing. But once again, it's only if that soul form chooses to heal. Trauma is what generates that density level in the soul forms when they are going through the moment of death, is what the star people are saying.
So I had 2 hypnosis sessions that I'm thinking about right off the top of my head. The first one was most recently, and we were asking the client's subconscious how to get rid of the density. And her higher self, her subconscious said, take it, you can give it to Mother Earth, but there's a place in the universe. And it sounds a lot like the void. And they said, when you're releasing your density, send it to the void.
Yeah.
Send it to the nest.
Yes. Yeah, that's what
so
that
it's,
is.
It's about the same thing, what you're
Now, we also teach people that your darkness or the attachments, they discharge from the soles of the feet. So if we can do an attachment release while we're barefoot standing on Mother Earth, she assists in pulling them out the bottom of the feet. But she'll also push energy up the soles of the feet. It's a two-way flow of energetics. So attachments being dark, we always say get off and go home, because what's actually happening in the energy field is the attachments go down, and they go down into the dark octave where they live, where they come from. Some attachments, they latch off of you, and then they go run and they latch onto someone else. It's just a part of what happens.
Yeah. And so then the second one that you brought to mind was this person was someone in a past life anyway that was stuck. And we literally in the hypnosis helped that person understand, like, you can't stay here. And I think that's what you're talking about. Like, they get stuck. And in the session, the guy was transmitted. He's like, well, what do you mean? I don't, he was sitting in this cabin all day, every day for years and years. And yeah, it's so cool. Like, you're putting together so much for me right now. Okay. So it says, that gate provides access into the void and shall produce an effect of being one with the nothingness. And that's what you were talking about, the 0 point.
Yeah.
Nothingness and the 0 point.
Yeah.
Neutrality.
All life is also birthed in darkness. And so we want to also recognize that, because light and darkness, it's one frequency wave. That is all. We are connected to the darkness. We are connected to every single thing that we see, every single emotion that we can sense, we are connected to it. So when we start talking about the darkness, the dark ones, the attachments, and how they latch on to other people and they do all sorts of stuff, that is because we are one with them. Now, in time, when we start diving into the dark octave, there's a dark matter kundalini grid that also surrounds our biological forms. The star people say that our technology can't really determine that this grid is there, but it is there. And it also works with the plasma systems, and this is how we manifest things. It's important to just be aware that it's there, because there's a connection from light and there's a connection to darkness. It's all connected. It's all one and the same thing. So the second that we can recognize that, it also allows us to go into meditations. When we're in a meditation, what are we doing? We're in darkness. We're closing the eyes and we're pulling ourselves from the physical reality as we see it. We are pushing ourselves into the inner worlds, which start by accessing that darkness. So that's okay too. That's accessing the dark matter coding grids. Now, this is really important, because what is CERN doing? CERN is doing, it's a ring, right? Which we talked about, the 3 rings above the head. Now, CERN is doing a giant ring, and it is taking light inside of darkness and it is smacking the light. Now, what is that? The Great Bang, right? That's how your electrical brain waves work as well. Your electrical, it's kind of like a lightning bolt that goes inside of your brain, and that's how each and every thought occurs. So when we can start to recognize that these systems that we see on the outside, it's merely a reflection of what's happening on the inside of your body. Now, in time, by diving into the darkness, it's going to grant the individual access into the dark matter coding grids, which is how we start to birth new universes. New universes, new planets can be birthed through the power of the consciousness. That's how truly powerful each and every one of us are. We have to truly know ourselves. We have to dive into the darkness and we have to dive into the light. We have to do both. There's no getting around it. Yeah.
Yeah. It took me a long time to figure out what that meant. Like light and dark, it's all one. It's all the same. The creator is light and dark. It's like algebra though. Like once you get it, but it takes a long time and a lot of practice to get there.
Not always. Sometimes it'll just click.
Just me.
Yeah. Well, everyone's different. So we don't want to say that. And then everyone who's watching is going to be like, it's going to take me a long time to get it. Right? No, not necessarily.
That's true.
Sometimes you just, you can sense it. You can feel it. Sometimes people in this realm, some of you guys have been birthed here specifically to work with the dark matter coding grids. And that's great, because it actually will help you to manifest different extrasensory abilities for all of us, because their imagination goes to that dark realm. That's okay too. Like I said, the darkness is not only evil, right? The darkness is, sometimes it's the stillness. Sometimes it's just neutral, but it's nothing. It's zero. It's just a place of sheer nothing. And so, like I said, when you meditate, we start to access that. And then all of a sudden the light comes from inside of the body. So the light and the darkness is working together. Yeah.
Thank you for the explanation, because that makes a lot more sense. So I think in this dark octave, the same as the world we go to retrieve stuck souls. Yes. Right. That's it. The simple answer is yes. That's from Heather. And Jay-Z wants to know, can you tell me how to heal? I think that's heal fibroids.
Not on a live stream. You can just send me a message. Yeah. Through DanielLipton.com, there's a little send a message icon. Right? Because you can't tell medical advice to everyone. It's okay.
Right. And then Laura says, you inspired me so much about what you said about money. I catch myself slipping into worry about that, and I try to remind myself what you said. Yeah, same, Laura. Me too. You really are an inspiration, Danielle. I
had to go through it though, right? And so I had to sit there with pennies in my account, and I witnessed miracles. Because it was like I would go to bed, there was no money, there was pennies in my account. I would wake up in the morning, and then there's the exact amount would be in there. So sometimes the universe changes and shifts, or you get a magic deposit that happened overnight, and it was the exact amount of money you needed to pay the electric bill. These things are real and they happen. And so when we start to really break down the money system that we have, you realize that there's ways of finagling the system. And so whether you manifest the money instantaneously or whether you're able to call up and change the amount of money that you have to pay to the bill, there's always a way of manifesting, and there's always a way of receiving and giving. Now, when you start giving more, you start receiving more. And even if that's just giving your time. This was another topic that we spoke about over the weekend, because when healers give their time, what happens is their time, it becomes something that they're given back. Right. And so if you are going and you are giving to help people, then all of a sudden your demand is going to be increasing, where people want you to come hang out because they like your energy. And then all of a sudden more people are going to flock to you. This is how the system works. This is how we start to build our tribes. And this is how we start to really pull all the starseeds and light workers together as one. It doesn't have to have a monetary exchange, but there is an exchange of energy that always comes from our hearts when we come together. And so just imagine everyone being stuck in a room with me for a weekend.
I love it. How we would all shine so bright.
Yeah. And we'd all have fun, and then everyone would leave feeling amazing. And that's what always happens. And so even me, I leave feeling amazing. And that feeling is what we want to strive to bring to the table. Right?
And we really do need each other at this time, because there aren't many people. Well, I can't say there aren't many people that gets this. We are growing, and, manifestation, people understand what that is now. And, bringing the light, people understand what that is. But it does feel like we've been alone and going through a lot of things alone, that now meeting other people and being together and having the opportunity to share the energy.
Yeah.
I think that we're grateful in a way that we might not have been before.
Well, because now if you put that idea out there, then it's going to trigger everyone to start your little, even if it's once a week communities, getting together in real life and sitting down, having coffee and tea, whatever you guys drink, with each other, and having these types of spiritual conversations. Like, hey, this is what I experienced. Right. At one point I felt crazy. I would have loved to have a tiny little group of people who wanted to sit down and talk and be like, but guess what? The world's not solid. We could change things. And all we have to do is drop into the heart and have these types of conversations. Right. And so I encourage each and every one of you guys to do it. Get together with people. It doesn't have to be about money. It doesn't have to be an exchange. Just come together and start having these conversations, because you want to open your heart and you want to spend the time with each other, because when we heal each other, it reflects into the consciousness grids. This is also how very high frequency manifestations come about. We have to come together because we're coming from the heart, not because of money, not because of energy, but because of the heart. Because when we do that, we can make big shifts and changes to the civilization ring for all of us. We're very powerful in the way we manifest. Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes healing people really means validating somebody else's experience. Like the things that we're talking about here, some people might be like, oh, that's a little weird. All right, that's okay. They're not on the same frequency. That's fine. But when we come together and we talk about it, and you validate me or I validate you, poof.
Yeah,
all of a sudden you feel better just with that little thing.
Yes.
Just with that little thing.
I'll remember when I was in my dark days, I had one person, and I mean, it was like, it was total darkness, the path I was walking through. Total darkness. I felt completely unloved. And I had a random person in my life who was not the person you would ever expect to say this to me. He put his hand on my shoulder. He goes, you are loved. I love you. And something inside of me changed and shifted in that moment. And it was like my heart had opened back up to love. And I felt it because the energy felt like it was moving differently. And I couldn't explain what it was back then, but I just knew that something had changed inside of me. And so he didn't have to do that. Right. And so when we give love to people, especially when they are going through their dark days, we don't know how it's going to change or shift their energy flow. And when you start to change their energetics, their whole manifestation of their life can change and shift into a more positively aligned timeline. That's how it works. So it's beautiful.
Yeah, that ripple effect that is so much more than a ripple.
Always.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the consciousness lens of focus is divinely guided, you say here.
Yes.
During its changes through solar energetic shifts and yuga cycles, which occur during solar alignments of planets. And we've talked about solar alignments of planets before and how important that is. But this sentence is so loaded with questions. I'm going to have to break it down. First of all, what are solar energetic shifts?
So it's similar to that of a full moon. That's a solar energetic shifts. And
Okay.
solar, the star people are saying, has more to do with the sun than the moon. So they're
Thank you.
correcting the solar alignments. Thank you, honey. The solar alignments is the frequency of the sun, different solar flares as it comes into the planetary systems. But it's not only the solar flares they're saying, it's the solar
Okay.
flares and the particular alignments of all the planets during the moment of the solar flare. That's one. But two, because once again, the moon and that frequency we have to count as well. The moon affects the waters. Your water is your emotion grid inside the physical form. The sun affects your chi energetic system. So we have to utilize both of them hand in hand as one. One is triggering the chi energetics, which gives access into a higher frequency or bandwidth to cast more energetics. This is the reason why when we start to talk about a high solar energy day, the Schumann resonance usually will be a little bit higher as well, which shall allow your manifestations to seem like they are coming more rapidly. So the sun also plays a role on time and space, the star people are saying.
Okay. So how do we know when we are having solar energetic shifts? Like we know about the moon. We can see them.
Yeah.
We can see the moon.
Check the Schumann resonance chart is what the
Just
star
by
people
checking
are
the
saying.
Schumann.
In time,
Okay.
you will come to recognize. I didn't learn this by checking any chart. I feel it. And so we go through spiritual weeks and we go through physical weeks. And so the spiritual weeks, your manifestations come a little bit quicker. Your physical weeks, you're paying the bills and doing like the things that it's a little slower, right? And so, but we go through this and it's like a frequency. And then all of a sudden, when we hold a high density level of like love, joy, and bliss, this cycle of up and down, it gets really close. And so think about a high frequency. A high frequency, the frequency wave is, it's very close together and it's very rapid. A slower frequency, the frequency goes more like this. So it's a little bit slower in the frequency wave form itself. So we look at that. That's how the system works. But it's working because the sun is triggering the body and the body is giving the perception. This may be a little tricky and confusing to kind of grasp, but I think everyone will get it fine. But just imagine the sun impacting the soul form, which is coming from the top of the head. There's a lens here. And we say that it flowers open, it does, but there's a source frequency lens. That lens lets the light come down into the body, which reflects out all the primary chakra systems. So the pineal, the throat chakra, the heart chakra. Now, depending on the way that we twist and turn all these different lenses, it's going to allow for our physical reality to change, shift, or be manipulated. He's saying scratch the word manipulated, modified by the primary individuals, which is us. So let's take for an example, if you wanted to see if someone is having an issue in abundance, then what they would have to do is put their conscious focus and attention into the root chakra system, which is the red system. And just imagine that there's a little lens there. Clean off the lens like you're looking at a microscope. Clean off the lens so all the light can shine through. That's density. These are caused by traumas. Throw all the traumas into a trash bin with a vortex. And then what we do is we open the chakra to allow more light to shine through. So by putting your conscious focus and attention through that lens, which you do through meditation, but you also do because you're willing it, it's going to allow you to see or perceive into your physical matter. So the physical matter is your house, your car, anything that you're placing focus on that is solid in your life. You are placing focus through that root chakra system. When you start to place focus, let's take for an example, through the solar plexus. The solar plexus, you're going to be doing things like painting or activating the childlike mind. So where your focus and attention is going is completely different compared to the root chakra. If you're focused in the pineal gland, you're going to be focused on meditation and contact or channeling, right? Now I'm telling you, we can open and expand the flow of energy in each one of these chakra systems, which then changes our perception into the physical reality. Now, this is amazing because the second that we fully realize, oh, all I had to do all along was open my heart. You can either open your heart by feeling a love-based emotion, which is how the heart works, but you could drop it to a meditation and imagine spinning it into a clockwise rotation, which is life-giving or positive frequency. And then all of a sudden you manifest more love into your reality. That's how this works. Many times if someone gets sick, it's because the light is not shining enough light through the physical form. So in that case, we would, well, the star people are correcting me and they're saying that some things shouldn't be said on a live stream, but there are different aspects that we are able to make changes and modifications to allow more light from the source frequency to flow into the physical form. One must be very careful while practicing this because too much light is also no good. And any types of pulling or changes or modifications to the actual flow of energy in the grids, you should also do very carefully. Now, on that note, I actually pulled my energy grid once because of something I saw online, and it took the star people a couple of days to rebalance it. And they were like, you should not make changes unless you know what you were doing, but we allowed you to do it because it was something that you learned from. And so now it's like the way that we teach people to do this is just by shining your conscious focus through each chakra and sending love and light.
Okay.
Make sense? Yeah.
Yes. So I will often ask for love and light coming through my crown chakra. How do I know I'm doing it too much then?
Yes. So it's like an energy. And so what happens when we have too much energy is you could get nervous, jittery, right? Because it's like it's too much running through the systems. But usually when it's too much, go outside and ground to the earth and ask Mother Earth to rebalance the field because she can do a full fine-tunement on each and every one of us, which is something we did at one of the shadow work Zooms. We all went and we consciously, you don't have to be outside to do it, but just imagine and visualize allowing Mother Earth to generate energetic cords and allowing her to make a cord into each one of your chakra systems. When you allow Mother Earth to do this, she'll naturally rebalance your field so you won't even have to think about it. And then you just open your heart and be like a child and send love and light to all of the system and it starts to heal. It's always really simple for us to heal.
It always comes back to us and how we feel. Always. And our imaginations. Yes. Okay. So what are your thoughts on deja vu? I think we talked about that last week. And it's
so deja vu.
Yep.
Deja vu is actually stepping into the 0 point and accessing above time and space. So just imagine for 1 second, when we tune in to, there's tachyon particles that are located inside of the heart. We can see them scientifically. That's inside of the 0 point. That 0 point is a place of neutrality. When we start to access neutrality, we are gaining access to a source frequency Kundalini channel that goes up and down. That primary Kundalini channel, we can start to change or modify time and space by accessing this system. So when we start to really, there's different breathwork meditations that we can do that'll give us access into the system as well, holding neutral. When we're really excited, time seems to go very fast. When we are really sad, time seems to go very slow. So that's showing us that the heart, which is based on our emotions, it's connected to the water systems, that controls time and space. A deja vu is kind of like a hiccup in that system. So I actually had a lady who one of her superpowers was she gives heart hugs. And when she does that, she timeline jumps you to your highest potential timeline. And so I heart hugged this woman and I took 3 steps back and I went through this massive deja vu. And I was like, oh my God, the entire world shifted for me in my eyes, in my head. And then I looked at her and I was like, you were there. You were in the other timeline. Everyone looked at me like I was crazy. And then I had literally shifted to the highest potential because my channeling had totally changed for that channeling session that we did. So I felt it and I knew it was real. And then we played around with it and we had her do it to multiple people and other people confirmed. So a deja vu really is, it's changing the density levels instantaneously. Remember, your density comes up and down, but you have to access a 0 point to make an instantaneous timeline shift. That's how the system works. It's genius.
It is genius. All right. Yes. So are you having the Zoom tonight?
No, we're not going to do it tonight because today I have to do it's a shadow work day. Yeah. So not shadow work. I've been doing attachment removals all day today. So Mondays and Wednesdays, we do attachment sessions with people. And so whenever I do that at night, I do a whole cleansing and purification ceremony. Today, we did the live today because tomorrow's Halloween. And so I'll be out with the kids tomorrow. But I didn't want you guys to miss another live stream. So
nice. Yeah. So another one on Thursday.
And Thursday we will be doing the shadow work Zoom. And so tonight I do encourage each and every one of you guys to try and do a meditation, try and drop in and try and see if you can make contact or communication with either your ancestors or even the star people, because the star people are always here to help and assist each and every one of us. They know who we are. They know that you guys are tuning in. They see throughout time and space. They can see these things. Their extra sensory abilities are all activated. So, right, we can all start to communicate with them one-on-one, which I encourage everybody to do.
Yes, I've been starting to do that too. It's very, very nice. So thank you so much. So I think, the last question, are you familiar with the violet flame? I am. Yes. I love some Saint Germain. What do the star people and Danielle have to say about the violet flame?
My friend Sunshine does the violet flame.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
She is amazing at it. Anyone who, she might be on my Facebook. Oh, she's on the treeoflifeorganization.com page. And what she does is she put me on a Reiki table, and I've never done this in my entire life. And she was like, we're going to violet flame you. And then she touched me. And then all of a sudden she unlocked my solar plexus, because the second I was done with that, I had to run home and like start painting stuff and doing all sorts of artistic. And I was like, whatever she did, it was amazing. So yes, the violet flame, I definitely recommend for everybody.
I'm a believer for sure. For sure.
Yes. Well, what is it? Think about it, because the violet flame, a flame is your chi energetic systems. So I have some people who can start fires. That is their attunement that the star people channeled for them. I've never seen them do it, but I know that this is an attunement that they have. And I just know. I've seen enough of these sessions by now. I just know when the star people tell you have an attunement, that means sit down and try and do it, because this is your magnetic attunement. Okay. And so, but to generate that fire, you're utilizing the chi energetic systems, which is electrical in its nature. This is your electrical systems, like your heart is beating with electricity. Your brain waves are electrical in its nature. And so the violet flame is tuning into the pineal gland. So you're tuning into a higher frequency, you're channeling as you are casting your chi energetic systems. That's how how it works scientifically speaking. So it's wonderful, right? Because the second we recognize that, you can also work with a blue flame. You can work with any color flame as you see fit. And you can also talk to different guides, and different guides will help you, because each one of the chakras contains a different color. You can cast chi energetic systems out each and every one of the chakras. So depending on where the individual that you are attempting to help them heal, wherever they have the imbalance is where you want to cast your energetics out of. So if your session or your client has an issue in the throat chakra, then you drop your consciousness into the throat chakra and you send the many love and blessings out of your throat. That's how the system works. Now, when we do start into different meditations, you can see, sense, or feel your energy flowing up and down the body. So you can feel when it gets into your throat. Anyone who's ever had like a lump in their throat, that's because the energy welts up inside of the throat chakra. So now we know that we can feel the system. You have to start meditating a tiny bit and feeling into the energy. Feel it in the heart, raise it to the throat, feel it in the throat, raise it. There's little chakras in the chin, in the nose, in the pineal gland, in the crown chakra. You can start to pull it straight up out the top of the crown chakra. There's so many different things that we can do. We can also send the energy out the ears, because the ears also contain vortexes in it. This is where frequencies come in and out of. And then this system, there's different head chakras as well. So the pineal gland has a tubule that goes straight back. On the sides of the head here, in the temples, has a tubule there, right? There's many different ley lines and meridians that cross over the entire body. All of them will in turn, in time, be healed, and they will all be flowing the energy correctly. We have to do the shadow work. When we do the shadow work, we start to send more love and light into the entire grid system, which allows all these things to come into balance and cohesion, the star people are saying. Yes.
Wonderful. And so what's the best way to reach out to them? You said, please, everyone reach out to your ancestors or star people. Is meditation the only way? Sometimes I think we call it meditation and people get I know that I was confused about like how to meditate. Sometimes the start is like literally just sit still for as long as you can.
And so, but that's how
Yeah.
I do it too. In the beginning,
Yeah.
I used to just sit with a book. And now a meditation does not mean that you are dropping into an hour laying flat in your bed. No, there's many different forms of meditation. Just closing your eyes and seeing and sensing the emotions. That's always the first step, because we can develop a two-way communication with the body as well through just closing our eyes and seeing and sensing into the body. So one such way that we could do this, and everyone should try it now, take a nice deep breath in.
Okay.
And release. Ever so gently feel into your kidneys. Just put your focus and awareness on them. Feel them. And then just go inside and ask yourself, kidneys, how do you feel? Do you feel good or do you feel bad? You'll get the answer back. You'll feel it. Now that's developing a two-way relationship with your body, because that's communication. You could do this with every single organ. You could do it with your heart. You could do it with your eyes. You could do it with the left eye. You could do it with the right eye. You could do it with the left kidney, the right kidney. You can sit down with a book. You can ask the kidneys, how do you feel? And then you could write it down. My kidneys said it feels wonderful today. My kidneys can also tell me, what do you need a detoxification? Tell me what you need. You're going to get a plant come into your mind or an herb, write it down. That's your kidneys telling you. Now, what's actually happening is we're forming communication with the higher self by accessing each different system, because the kidneys has its own system in play. You can dive into the heart. You can ask for different emotions. Heart, what emotions can you release that's going to allow me to shine more light through my heart chakra? And then write it down, all the emotions. The emotions, we always tell them to get off and go home in case you have an attachment latched on. Usually we do.
Yeah.
Then to generate contact and communication with the star people, in the beginning, you write down questions. What can I do to help my ascension journey? And then just sit back and just allow a sentence or a thought. So most of the times, the first time, they're like, have more love, or they'll just say more love. And so that's the star people, because they're always going to answer you in love. If you guys ever get a negative word or phrase, that is not the star people. They will never do that to you. So
And sometimes if I'm very frustrated, I'm looking for guidance, they'll be like, you're doing great, just keep going. I'm like, no.
But what are you crazy? I'm doing great.
What do you mean I'm doing great? I'm not doing great. But keep going. We're supporting you. We're here, it's always lovely. So
it is.
Thank you so much for answering all of these questions.
Yes. Thank you guys all for coming tonight. And I wanted to say, have a very happy and safe Halloween tomorrow, anyone who's celebrating it. And thank you guys for coming. Anyone who has any questions for the next live stream, you could send them in at daniellelipton.com. That's also where we have sessions available. The book, My Ascension Guide, is available on Amazon. And so
Yeah,
Jody and
love
I, we're going to start going over each and every one of the pages and the chapters in the book, allowing for different questions on each chapter. This way, it really allows the book to become very expansive. And then all the questions are going to get stored on YouTube so that you guys, or everyone who has a book, if you have questions, you can go to the YouTube and then see. Yeah, thank you guys for coming. Thank you,
And it's
Jody.
almost 300 pages of the book. There's so much to cover. We're going to have
It's
so
a
much
textbook.
fun. Almost 300
Who
pages.
knew?
Yeah,
I wrote it on my
huge.
iPhone.
It's awesome.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Now, the book is also written so that you can just read one page a day. And so all the pages are different posts. And all my Facebook guys.
Here's the page I read today.
Yes, at 157. And I usually post each one of these on Facebook. Yeah. What did you say?
I said I've got all my notes and everything, but we in this 1 hour barely covered everything that's on this page. There's a lot of information in here.
There is. You have to erase that. I'm not saying sorry anymore. I'm saying I love you.
Yeah.
Right? We have to be very aware of the words that we use. And I know this for solid fact now because of my experiences with the star people. And each and every word is a manifestation. And I used to think, oh, it doesn't really matter. It's only a word. But no, it's very serious because every single word that comes out of your mouth, if it's not of a higher frequency, you're adding density into the grids. So who knew? Right? Who knew? And so even the tone and the emotion that you put behind the words, all that stuff is very important, especially when we're trying to really tune into very high frequencies. And that's the reason why we want to always just stay centered in the heart and just allow and go through a process. And it's kind of like a learning process. It's college, literally, because it's not always easy. And we have to give ourselves compassion and grace when we do mess up, when we don't do proper behavior patterns. Let's say we get stuck into a toxic pattern. That's okay too, because every single moment that we're here is truly an opportunity to do better for ourselves. And when we better ourselves, we're bettering our communities, all of our loved ones around us. And it truly gives us an opportunity to learn how to love ourselves more. Because if you're doing what's right for yourself, you're loving yourself. Right. And that's the whole reason why we came here, is to shine more love to ourselves, to our lives, and to all of the people around us, regardless of their polarity. It doesn't matter if they're good or bad. We still send them many, many love and blessings. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Love like it's your job, because that's our job here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. And next live stream is on Thursday. Somebody's asking. And
next live stream Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern time zone.
7 p.m. But we have the meetup on Wednesday. If people want information about that, that's going to be a short one.
Go ahead.
That's not a next live stream.
That one.
So I host a weekly meetup on Wednesday mornings, and Danielle is the guest. Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. And if you want to ask questions or listen to the Zoom, email me or Danielle at jody2001mk@yahoo.com, and you can join in.
Perfect. Can we send the link so that they can watch it live?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Perfect. So
I'll put it in the comments
on Facebook. This way, anyone who wants to come Wednesday morning, we'll put the link on Facebook so you guys have it. And then you could come listen.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
Excellent.
So much easier.
Yes. Excellent, guys. So you all have many, many love and blessings. Stay safe tomorrow. And we'll see you guys all Thursday. Excellent.
Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.